Okay, so class, I'm going to take a few minutes here to go over this. Now, the idea of this series of lecture, and I hope it works for you, is the following. Each portion of a case study response almost stands on its own to a certain degree. It's related to the other parts, but it has a certain standalone quality to it. So I thought as you may be drafting or you may be doing research, it's easier just to look at each component in a separate video. So that's why we have a separate video about each one, rather than one big one. Okay, so without further ado, so this is the executive overview. Okay, this is a brief overview of the case. This is, like I said at the outset, if I was reading a book and I wanted to turn over and know what's going on in the book, I just read the back. Think of it this way, when you're writing to me, okay, if I was a super busy executive and there were 100 of you in this class, right, I'd want to be able to say, okay, Brian said this, Ms. Giles said this, okay, or Gino said this. Very quickly be able to read it and know which way are we going with the ideas here. So it's a very brief overview of the case. Now, everybody, I know the first thing that's going to come to mind is how many sentences do I write? And I can't tell you that. Sometimes you write a lot, sometimes you don't write a lot. But you know what a rule of thumb here is, as you write it, this is probably for our purposes no more than a page long, double spaced, okay? Even with the most complex of case studies, it's pretty tight, okay? And very brief, okay? What is its purpose? It highlights the issue, the important facts, the analysis, and the conclusion. It's an overview, right? So you're going to highlight what you're discussing, what the biggest, most important facts are, what your analysis and conclusion are. You may be able to work all those together, you know. You can think about it, the issue is such and such because this happened. And my analysis by looking at this company leads me to this conclusion. So you're not doing the whole paper here, you're just highlighting it so somebody gets a flavor of what's going on. What's the most important thing about an executive overview? Three things, and this carries on to everything. You want to make sure you're clear, okay? If you, the way I was taught was that if you have a word in a sentence and you look at it and you say, geez, I don't really need that word, okay? Attorneys like to say, however, or of course, right? Yeah, they don't really do anything, they kind of fill and get rid of the word, okay? So you want it to be clear and concise. Also, linear is very important. In other words, by linear I mean the following. And with our first lecture, I said there's 5 components here. This is the first component. Okay, linear means you don't depart from that. You're going to always stick with that order. Okay, and also you're going to stick with facts start in January and they go to December. Don't start talking about December before January. So 3 things very important in the overview. It's brief. It's a highlight, right? Probably a repeat there, those 2. And it's clear, concise, and linear. You do that in an overview, you're always doing good, okay? So that's what the overview is. As I said, it is a short part of the paper. It's not a big part of the paper. It's a short part of the paper. And so that's what you want to do. See you soon. Now the next part we're going to do is going to be the issue presented.